We are the one, the light in the dark. One heart, one world, one spark. We are the one, together we rise. One dream, one voice, one.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Women Empowered Across the World. This is our podcast, and I have amazing hosts with me. They're all amazing, guys. I have Jackie Zaccoli, resides in Arizona. You want to check out her Gen Network, guys? It's where things get done. You want to check out her Gen Network. Meg, Dating Tips by Meg. You want to know who she is and what she is doing and how she is educating so many people about stalking. And then Pat Tracy from Texas, who runs, who is a distributor for a health and nutrition company and is in YEA and an amazing woman. You want to know who she is and reach out to her. And I'm Carol Witt, and I am the founder and the director for YEA Global. We just went into 82 countries. We teach mindset, it's the biggest deal. And let's thrive together. That's what we're all about, guys. Okay. And we teach the 7 pillars for thriving. So we have an amazing guest. Our guests are all amazing, but we have Toni today with us. And Toni is going to come and share her story with us and inspire many of our listeners and us. Toni, join us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
So, I had a wonderful life with my wonderful husband who I met when we were only 15 years old. So it was amazing. He was an amazing person. I recently lost him about 9 months ago, which was hard. But basically, without him, I don't think I could have gone through what we went through in 2011. In 2011, I knew nothing about stalking. I was just living my life, having a great time in the mountains, in the beautiful Colorado mountains. And our youngest daughter, who was a college student, 19 years old at the time, it was over the summer, she was living with us, and all of a sudden she had a stalker. And I thought stalkers were just for famous people. I was so naive, I'm telling you. And a lot of people are like that. They just don't know. If you're not reading the news all the time and you're not into that, you just don't know. So she had a stalk. She was stalked for 4 months. She lived at our house at the time, going to college from our house. And after 4 months, she died. She was killed. And we had no clue. We had done everything that we thought we could do. We even contacted the sheriff's office every single time there was an incident. I kept a detailed log. Um, it became a felony stalking case. We really thought we were doing everything possible to protect her. But there's a lot of things I didn't know back then. And all the advice I was getting was not correct at all. And there was a lot of education about stalking that no one knew back then. So, of course, that was traumatic for all of us. And my life as the Toni I was then was completely over. I had to become a different Toni at that point. You're not the same after you lose a child, no matter how you lose a child. I think a lot of people can relate to that once they've lost a child. And if you haven't, it's hard to relate to that. And I'm glad you can't relate to that. But anyway, so that changed me completely, and I became an advocate for bringing awareness to people about stalking and about the justice system and everything that I was lacking at that time. I wanted to make sure, and it's not just for women, it's for men, it's for, parents, it's for families. And I started 6 months after she was murdered, I started a website called morganstalking.com. And on that website, I started a blog called I'm sorry, the website was morganingram.com. And the blog on that website was morganstalking.com. I had no idea when I started that blog, and I started doing a timeline from the day she found out about the stalking and everything we went through. So all the mistakes we made, all the good things we did, everything was on that blog on a daily basis, all the way through to when she was murdered. That blog ended up blowing up. I mean, I had people from 115 different countries. I didn't even know some of these countries. And people were coming to me and they were emailing me and they were giving me their stories of stalking. They were asking for help. Just so many things were happening. It was crazy. I even had a veterinarian call up, a large animal veterinarian, saying that I didn't even understand some of this stuff. And now that I do, I'm going to change the way I do things. I mean, I had one parent call them, and it had nothing to do with stalking so much, but if you think about it, stalking, murders, kidnappings, all different things, sexual assaults, a lot of them start with stalking, and they in the news they don't even talk about that. They just really don't. The stalking part gets left out, but stalking is a huge thing. And over 3,000 people a year are stalked in the United States. I had
Mm.
people in India contacting me and telling me, and of course, in different countries, their laws are different, their cultures are different, everything's so different. So I couldn't even relate to some of these things, but the basics you can. You can tell somebody it's dangerous. You need to get help, that type of stuff. And so anyway, this went on, and the blog just blew up. It just really blew up, and I felt good because all of a sudden I could help people. With the knowledge that I was gaining, and I just kept researching and researching, and I could see that our Justice Department was lacking in a lot of areas, and they needed a better protocol. The law enforcement, a lot of these law enforcement people, they really wanted to help. They really did want to help. Some of them really wanted to help, but they didn't even have the protocol. They didn't know what to do to help. And so my idea at the time was to get as much information out as possible, help as many people as I could. And in the meantime, I had people coming to me saying, "Oh, you should write a book about this." So I actually started writing a book, which I'm going to try to get published in the next 6 months. But the whole idea here was to just help as many people as possible, because when you're in this, you just don't know. You have no idea what to do, where to turn. The sheriff's told us, don't tell any of your neighbors. Don't tell anybody what's going on, because we think the person's local and in this area, and we want to surprise him and catch him. Well, they didn't catch him physically, and the neighbors should have known. They should have been watching out. More eyes on something is better, right? So that's what I'm saying about a protocol. They didn't really know what they were doing. They didn't know what to tell the victims and the victim's family. And as a novice person, you think, okay, they must know what they're doing. They deal with this all the time, but they didn't know. So my whole goal is to get as much information out as possible to people and make the connections like I hopefully made with Meg, to help people. And then after all this was said and done, about a year later, I became a volunteer for FOHVAMP, which is Families of Homicide Victims and Missing Persons. And I became a volunteer. And then ultimately, after working with all these co-victims, which were the family members of children and spouses and family members that went missing, as well as, people that were actually murdered, and their families didn't know where to turn because they weren't getting any help. The case wasn't getting solved. I started, speaking with them and trying to help them make connections and try to help their case progress. And so after that happened, for a while, a few years of that, I was asked to be the West Coast director, and I was on the board of directors for FOHVAMP. So I'm still doing that too. So I'm working with stalking victims. I'm also helping, FOHVAMP with the families of homicide victims and missing persons. So that's what I
Mm.
do.
Wow. Wow. Oh my. Um, Once again, a tragedy that turns into something that really impacts our world. Wow.
Well,
So
at the
amazing.
time, somebody that I knew back in DC that has actually been on the television a lot when it comes to terrorism and stuff, he called me up on the phone afterwards, and he said, you have two choices. You can either curl up in a ball and become a ghost, or you can actually get out there and try to change the way things happen in this world. And so I chose the latter.
And we are so happy that you did. Okay, so so Toni, um, I want to ask you, so okay, so anybody that has questions, but I have a question for you, and that's this. Where I'm about visualizing a bigger picture. So 5 years from now, where do you want to see your efforts go? Where do you want this to be? Where do you want this showing up?
Hmm.
What's your vision in the next 5 years for what you are doing right now to take it to a way bigger level? What's your vision?
I can answer that, but you know what? This is going to sound terrible, but I have to let my dog in the room because she's barking and I know she's bothering you guys.
Okay,
So
not a
let me
problem.
let her in the room real quick.
Okay.
I would just say what Tony's away is that she's been doing this for so many years. She's national. She had mentioned the movie that was produced around her, the national, episodes on different podcasts, the people who have brought her in just because of her story and what she's been doing. She has got she's got a lot going on.
Got a lot going on.
So,
The 30 minutes wasn't enough for her.
Yeah, but I still want to see what her bigger picture is.
Oh, yeah.
And like 5 years, where do you want to be? I
well,
get you've got a lot of
mhm.
people knowing what's happening and knowing who you are now. But in the next 5 years, what's your vision?
I hope and I feel like I'm going to go in this direction to fulfill my purpose. And my purpose became very clear after I lost my daughter. I mean, the pain was horrible, but all of a sudden I woke up and I had a purpose. And as long as I'm on the path towards that purpose, it makes me happy. It makes my heart feel much better. The pain goes away a lot. And so in the next 5 years, I'm hoping that I can get as much written information out to people, as well as, also I'd love to be on more podcasts again. For a while there, I was not going on podcasts. I was not doing anything online because I was going through a lot, personally with the grandchildren and my husband and everything that was happening in my life. But now in the next 5 years, I'm ready to just ramp it up and just get out there and do as much as I can because I feel like awareness and in knowledge saves people. So that's really where I'm at right now.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. Uh, Education is so key in this situation. I had a stalker, so I know.
Oh my.
Uh,
So
yeah, mine ended up crawling in my bedroom and getting
oh,
in my bed and putting his hands around my neck.
oh my
So
God,
I really want you to get, yeah, it has to be out there. We
it
have to
does.
get educated around the things we can do. And that's why I love Meg so much because she
Oh,
educates people in all kinds of things that you got to be looking out for and watching for, especially when you're out there, in the out there in the limelight kind of thing and people are gravitating to you that are not good people. You definitely, you're on podcasts, you're running podcasts, all these things, people get enamored by you. I've had people start doing things around me with this podcast even. So it's education.
I look at
Absolutely.
it like this. When you guys do what you do, which is so amazing, you put off a light. You become a light in the darkness, right? And that light is wonderful and it helps so many people, but it also attracts darkness. So you do have to protect yourself. You really do. And Meg has done amazing things for young people too. She's really helped a lot of young people, which is like our future, right? Young people are our future. And so to be able to get that knowledge out there like all of you are doing is just doing a lot for this world. It really is. We can only do what we can do, the best we can do. And I just feel like it's just you just have to do it. That's all. You can't be afraid to do it. You just have to take care. You have to understand. You have to have knowledge. That's all to protect yourself.
Absolutely. Okay, so Jackie, you have your hand up. Go ahead. You have a question?
So yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's a real eye-opening day for me, Meg. And my
Wow.
question to Meg is, who else are in this whole flotilla of your
Mm.
world? I mean, I'm just curious. I'm asking Meg because it appears that we haven't even touched the surface of what has to go out. Meg, could you answer, please?
Well, we've seen it. We did our previous guest was sexual assault in teens, and we have, missing persons. We have another stalking case. It's all about education. So I have a lot of people who I collaborate with that are just they're educating. There's different pieces of it. It's that I do dating, I do stalking, I do the red flags, and then someone else picks up, oh, what about the next little screw there, sexual assault. I dealt with that, but it's not my big gig. But yeah, I have people like Toni, just advocating all over the world, doing, the big picture, the missing persons, she went to stalking to like missing persons and homicide. Um, yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but these ladies that rise up and they're like, every day they impact my life, or they had an impact on my life, and um, she made a real difference. I don't know where I would have been without Toni, like connecting me
Oh,
with, um, we have a gentleman, I know he probably won't want to be on. He's a guy, but he was the first person who looked at my computer and didn't think I was crazy. He said, you need to turn around, back around. You're going to the safe house tonight.
You're
Like
talking
you
about
are not
Rob,
safe.
correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Yep,
yeah. Rob
Rob.
Wells.
Yep. He's
And I wouldn't
retired
have known
now.
about Rob if Toni, he would have taken my call if Toni wouldn't have, made that connection. So it's,
oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a movement. It really is a beautiful movement. Have you ever considered it to be that?
yeah. Oh
A
Good
yeah.
point.
cohort, a literal movement
Good
with its
point.
own little pieces in the movement of, I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, because each of you have your own individual pieces within it. I love the faultless. I think that's beautiful. And that whole business. And we say that it's United States. We know it's global.
It's
It's just
global.
a matter
It's
of
global.
of of it's all about awareness. I agree. That's always been the topic area so that we can actually move. You have to be aware. The
Yeah.
excitement of awareness is what I'm about to.
Hmm.
So anyhow, what am I asking? Well, what I'm asking is
Your favorite
the
question, dear.
same. Yeah, just that's all. I can't get
Is
around it.
it? It is it.
What's next, Toni? I
What do you
mean,
need?
what do you really need? What is it besides exposure, besides having you finish your book, which will be very important? And I have to mention this because I have a day coming up on Wednesday, the 11th of March, where I'm putting trafficking people together, and you could easily be in that whole same
Mm.
category. So it's that awareness, that panel, that exposure that I hope will be globally, and we can do it. I mean, Carol and Pat too, of course, and Meg. I mean, we have the capability of getting it out there in almost anywhere you can imagine, and we can't. But tell me, now that you know that, what would you like to see more of that is not mentioned, has
Oh,
not been mentioned?
there's so much if I go into the whole thing, but basically, there are national databases for things like missing persons. There's a national database.
Mm,
There is not a national database to connect stalking to anything. And so, just for an example, I'll give you a real quick example. Where we lived, when my daughter was stalked, there were within an hour drive, both all different directions, there were 13 different law enforcement agencies, and they did not share information with each other. So this
Mm.
person, and she knows, and this person could be stalking and injuring or sexually assaulting somebody in one district and drive 20 minutes somewhere else and do it again, and they don't know that this person's on the radar. They just don't know that they maybe have a serial rapist or a serial stalker. They just don't know. That's always been a huge thing for me. And you cannot tell law enforcement what they need to do, but you can certainly go and start a movement, like you're talking about a movement. You could start a movement where you can set up a national stalking protocol, which I think somebody's already tried to do that, and try to have meetings with the different law enforcement agencies so that they can try to train their people. This is what we need to do. And that would save lives. It really would. And when I say save lives, whether or not the person is no longer with us, that person, as you probably know, is impacted for the rest of their life once they've been
mm-hmm,
stalked. It
Mhm.
doesn't ever go away. You're hyper
Yeah.
vigilant. It affects your whole life. It just does never goes away. I talk to victims all the time who are now survivors of stalking, and they are brought back to that moment whenever you start talking about it, and it has impacted them so much. So that's one huge thing. Another thing, and this is going to sound a little crazy, but I've had a couple stalking victims that lived on ranches. They had horses, they had dogs, they had cats, but they loved their animals like I love my animals. You probably all have animals and they're part of your family, right? when they have to go, when they have to run for their life to get out of there, what do they do with their animals? They don't want to leave. They'll stay there. They'll be attacked because they just don't want to leave their animals. And there's safe homes for people, which we can get them into a safe home, but there's no safe home where you can bring your animals. And so that, I know it sounds silly, but that was one of my goals back then too, to somehow work out where they have safe homes for people, for women and men and children, that there's also something connected to that where they can bring their animals and they're not, stuck in a situation where they can't leave that situation. I know it
Yeah.
sounds a little silly, but it's a big thing. It
Oh,
really is.
it's so powerful. Because where do you go when you're hurting, when you're so in fear around things? You go to your animal, you
Yes.
hug, because that's the love you feel safe with. And
Exactly. You feel safe
I
with your
do
animal.
remember pulling my schnauzer to me
Oh,
after that happened, for over a month. I just, I was just so gotta have
you
that
needed that.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah,
And
I
you probably could never ever in a million years think that you would leave that schnauzer, because I'm going to tell you another thing about stalkers too. They do attack the animals
animal.
because that's how they get to you too. So if you have a dog or a cat or whatever that you love, I've had stories where they've attacked the animal, to get to their victim, because it's all about terror. They're trying to
Yeah.
terrorize.
Well,
Yeah.
the kids. I mean,
And
I didn't want to leave
children.
my kids.
That's
Yeah, and
right.
it was I came back because I couldn't stay without my kids for that. I was like, I live in a prison there. So it's making this victims be able to survive outside of that and not have to live their whole life,
Exactly. So there's
leave what they love.
a lot of things that need changing, and
Mhm.
I'm still trying to put together and get help from other people on what to do, how to do it, how to do it, because you have to approach every situation differently. Law enforcement especially. I mean, because I've worked with law enforcement and some of them are fabulous. They really are. They really want to help. They really, really do. And then they're also stuck in a situation where they really can't. So to bridge that gap and make it so that people understand and they have a protocol that works, I think is a great idea.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. So amazing. All right. So guys, wow. Any other questions before okay. All right. So guys, you love these episodes, please share them out. Let people know about what Toni is up to out there in the world. She's been out there. She's been doing this for quite some time, but let's get her out there further. Let's get more people hearing her story, knowing about what avenues they can go in. Stalking is it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. And we don't even hear half of the things that are going on around stalking because a lot of the victims never even report this stuff. So please reach out to Toni, find out what resources are out there for your children, for your, for your loved ones. Make sure you have the resources that are available. And guys, please subscribe to our channel, comment on our episodes, and if you would like to be a guest, please reach out to one of us on LinkedIn. We're all out there. And let us hear your story. Let us share it out to many, many, many people. And hopefully educate many people that you're out there and you are impacting and making a difference. It's more about being educated in what's out there, what resources are available. So thank you so much, Toni, for
Oh,
bringing you and your story to us. Thank
you're
you.
so welcome and thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Wow.
Toni.
Wow. All right. So, guys, remember, we all deserve to thrive. Let's do it together. Bye, everyone.
There's no divide. Peace and